So, Ondo State waited with bated breath what would be the outcome of a rather confusing legal twist and turns as to who will fly the flag of one of the parties in Saturday's governorship election. Well, the appeal court has answered that question. Away from the political front, the first citizen is back after attending the Africa-Arab Summit in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea. Here at home, the federal cabinet has been taking a look at the economy, even as 20 billion naira is shared for the month of November. But if there are worries about the dwindling purse, hope has risen for a boost to the power sector, as vital equipment trapped at the port can now be cleared to re-energize stored projects. It's a whole load ahead on News Extra tonight, and we are live on Africa's largest TV network, the NTA. I'm Rhoda Obo. You are welcome. The fourth Africa-Arab Summit has ended in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, with the pledge of $2 billion by the Kuwait government in support of key developmental initiative on the continent. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that President Muhammadu Buhari led Nigeria's delegation to the summit.
Dozens of heads of state and government from Africa and the Arab world participated at the summit, which had as its theme, Together for a Sustainable Economic Development. Attending for the first time, President Muhammadu Buhari joined the leaders to discuss ways and means of enhancing Arab and African commitment towards promoting development and economic cooperation in critical sectors for the benefit of their peoples.
It is important for Nigeria as Africa's leading nation and economy to be involved in these programs of regional cooperation. It is a good thing that we're here, and we've deepened our relationship with the Arabs, both within Africa and in the Gulf, and opened up many areas of cooperation in agriculture, investments, and other economic opportunities.
The summit came at a time when Africa is demonstrating strong commitment to transform its economy and improve its social conditions through Agenda 2063, and this formed the basis of deliberations, cooperation and partnerships between leaders of the continent and the Arab world.
It is indeed a very good partnership in that common areas of interest have been discussed.
It's a synergy to ensure African and Arab to benefit one another, not only on security and trade, but in all sectors of human development.
Although resolutions at the summit are yet to be made public at the time of filing this report, Nigeria and other participating countries described as welcoming the $2 billion pledge by the Kuwaiti government in support of development initiatives as well as the fight against terrorism.
Kuwait offered soft loans to African countries for viable projects that African countries can access, which I think was applauded.
Nigeria cannot be isolated to benefit this offer for scientific development, research, education, empowerment. So these are all benefits that Nigeria could take.
The Kuwaiti Fund for Arab Economic Development will release $1 billion towards strengthening educational systems in Africa and another $1 billion for the fight against terrorism, as well as youth empowerment and the development of agriculture. The summit was jointly organized by the African Union Commission and the League of Arab States. President Muhammadu Buhari has since returned to Abuja. Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Now let's focus on the Ondo State governorship polls coming up on Saturday, as the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has set aside the judgment of a federal high court which led to the substitution of the name of Eyitayo Jegede with that of Jimo Ibrahim as the Ondo State PDP governorship candidate. The court also vacated the judgment of a lower court that gave recognition to the Alimodi Sharif faction as the leadership of the PDP. Dele Atumbi reports.
The three-man Court of Appeal panel, headed by Justice Ibrahim Salawa, in the case of Eyitayo Jegede versus B. Bure, said the judgment of Justice Okon Abang of the Federal High Court that did not give the appellant any opportunity to be heard was fraudulent and a breach of his fundamental right. It maintained that the failure of the council to be Ikpurue and 9 others to file their briefs was a slip on their right and fatal to their case. The court described the judgment of the lower court as a charge and vacated the judgment and the order. The court awarded 50,000 naira against INEC for removing the name of Itayo Jegede as the PDP candidate. The appellate court also set aside the judgment of Justice Okon Abang, which gave recognition to the Alimodu Sheriff leadership. It said a situation whereby the petitioners also appeared as respondents in the same case was not proper.
So heartwarming and mind-lifting to everybody who delights in justice, pristine justice, to see that the 2 judgments that have been delivered represent nothing but justice in the real sense of justice.
Now, we're not in this for self-seeking. We're in this to serve our people.
For me, this is not about Ondo alone. This is about Nigeria's democracy.
With this verdict, in the eye of the law, Itayo Jegede is now the PDP candidate for the Ondo State governorship election coming up on Saturday. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has enjoined the people of Ondo State to go out to the polling stations on Saturday, November the 26th and cast their vote for change. The right to vote, President Muhammadu Buhari has added not only a civic responsibility but the opportunity to determine the course of their lives as a people, adding that a vote for the All Progressives Congress is a vote for progress and people-oriented policies. He noted that since the creation of Ondo State in 1976, the people of the state have contributed immensely to the growth and development of Nigeria, especially in the areas of agriculture and education. A vote for Rotimi Akeredolu, a renowned lawyer of guerrillas reputation, who rose to the peak of his profession as the president of the Nigerian Bar Association, President Buhari said, is a vote for the continued development of Ondo State. President Buhari looks forward to a free and fair election and a true representation for the good people of Ondo State. Now, the chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, has assured the people of Ondo State that the governorship election will be free, fair and credible. He gave the assurance in Akure during a stakeholders meeting ahead of Saturday's governorship election in the state. Dele Adalomokun reports that the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, and other security personnel were also in attendance.
The chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakub, reiterated the commitment of the commission not to allow the will of the people to be denied. The Ondo State Resident Electoral Commissioner, INEC, Olusegun Agbaje, expressed the readiness of the commission to conduct free, fair and credible governorship election on Saturday. The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, solicited the cooperation of the people of the state and warned against violation of law and order before, during, and after the election. The representatives of the political party present commended INEC for their proactive and unbiased approach as they signed peace reaffirmation agreement to be law-abiding. In Akure, Dele Adamolekun, NTA News.
We'll still stay with the Ondo election as the Nigerian police force has deployed 3 helicopters to the 3 senatorial districts of Ondo State to monitor Saturday's governorship election and provide other governorship election security surveillance. The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, disclosed this at a strategic meeting with officers and men of the State Police Command ahead of Saturday's polls. Doris Olumoko has details.
The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, said the police, in collaboration with other security agencies in the state, will ensure a peaceful and transparent governorship election, adding that various security measures have been put in place, which include the quarantine of all borders to Ondo State from midnight of Thursday, the 24th, to Sunday, the 27th. He said all police officers on election duty will be given tags to authenticate their areas of deployment, warning that any police officer caught where he is not deployed to will be detained and dealt with.
So we're taking restriction very serious. Stay where you are, provide security where you're deployed. I don't want to deploy somebody from one end of the state, he move to the other one. Because one position has put him in a vehicle that says, let's go somewhere. And you go there and begin things that are not supposed to. We should be on ground from now. We should start implementing stop and search. Let people know that you are in town. And with this stop and search, we are going to discover so many things. If you give these politicians, opportunity to be doing things, they are going to give us problem on the day of the election.
The police boss also warned that monies will not be allowed into polling units, adding that thugs and their sponsors will be arrested. Both the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Abila Joseph, and Ondo State Police Commissioner, Hilda Ibifuro Harrison, assured that the police officers will not compromise. In Akure, Doris Olumoko, NTA News.
Away from the Ondo State governorship election, encouraged by the improvement in the non-oil sector, the Federal Executive Council at its meeting in Abuja says it is looking forward to a more robust economy in this fourth quarter of 2016. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Recent report by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics on the performance of the economy in the third quarter of 2016 showed a weak performance. As observed by the Council, this weak performance was due to the fall in oil production. Beyond this, the Council has a positive outlook on the fourth quarter, and the Minister of Budget and National Planning says this optimism arises from the observed improvement in the non-oil sector.
Agriculture continues to grow, growing at 4.5%. Solid minerals continues to grow, growing at 7%. The financial sector has moved into positive 2.85%. So indeed, we are encouraged by the direction that the non-oil sector is moving.
On NASU strike, Minister of Labour Chris Ngige says significant progress has been made over their demand.
The government agreed to ASU's demand, but limited it only endowment funds, which is funds sourced by ASU. But that doesn't also mean that at the end of the day, the University Council will not have right to audit such an account. So we consider that's only the area that is not. That's a little bit contentious. The other aspect of it is the end allowances. The end allowances is the only one that's not sorted out now, because everybody know and agree that we're in a recession.
The minister informed State House correspondents on Council's approval of additional 40 operation vehicles to the Federal Road Safety Corps fleet. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Our focus next is on the legislature as the senators at Wednesday's plenary engaged on a heated debate over the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. National Assembly correspondent Waziri Zayani reports that some of the senators still believe that a new document should be passed, while others say it should be returned to the executives for amendment.
The 2017-2019 medium-term expenditure framework (MTEF) and Fiscal Strategy Paper (FSP) are statutory documents which articulate government's revenue and spending plans as well as its fiscal policy objectives over the period. The two documents were rejected by the Senate earlier this month on the ground that necessary information needed to consider them were not attached. In a lead debate at Wednesday plenary, Senate Deputy Leader said focus on the new document is the utilization of targeted spending in critical sectors to create jobs and increase private sector investment.
The medium-term expenditure framework and the fiscal strategy paper is proposing a budget that will be predicated on an oil revenue benchmark of $42.5 per barrel.
The executive arm has to put in place a proper engagement strategy in the Niger Delta if it hopes to achieve this.
We should support the MTEF with changes that we believe will make it a better document and will make the budget and more operable and implementable by the time we pass it.
My major concern is if we are standing the budget on foundation that clearly has wrong indicators, has wrong figures, how do we accomplish that?
Some senators demanded explanation on what happened to an earlier MTF plan for 2016 to 2018.
And what happened to the 2017 aspect of the 3 years MTF we passed last year?
Looking at the premise on which the MTEF was based, I think this document is okay.
2016 budget was predicated on a deficit of almost 3 trillion. Where are we now? Have we been able to borrow that money and infused it into the system?
After a very objective analysis, the documents were referred to appropriate committees.
Our responsibility is to work on it and use our own capacity to do the right thing.
The MTEF debate has been hot, diverse, but very, very frank. And at the end of it all, the matter was sent to 3 committees, those of appropriation, finance, and national planning, to study the documents and then come up as fast as possible with appropriate solutions. A total of 19 reports were laid by various committees on the 2016 budgets of agencies under their oversight purviews. From the National Assembly, Waziri Zayano, NTA News.
The House of Representatives has approved the report of its Committee on Aviation, which recommends the suspension of a federal government's proposed concession of airports. Also at Wednesday's plenary, members passed a third reading, a bill for an act to establish the National Postgraduate College of Medical Laboratory Science. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Onko reports.
The reports of the House Committee on Aviation also resolved to invite the Minister of State for Aviation and the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria to find lasting solution to the challenges of the Nigerian airline industry.
As at the time of the public hearing, the committee found that a total of 15 international airlines, including Air Gambia, Delta Air, Emirates, Iberia, United Airlines, among others, have relocated most of their flights to neighboring countries. This mass relocation is occasioned by a cumulative loss of about 64 billion naira by foreign airlines in the wake of the new foreign exchange policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Yes, it's the BPE that would determine concessions as defined under the Act. But it's not going to do it in isolation.
White Asset Management Company of Nigeria, AMCON, to appear before the House and fully brief the House on its plan of action to resuscitate aero contractor airlines.
The House received the report of its Committee on Appropriation on the request by President Muhammadu Buhari for the development of 208.8 billion naira in the 2016 budget. Representative Albert Adeogun from Osun State moved that the federal government intervene in what he described as threat of imminent total blackout in Nigeria due to challenges in gas supply. 3 other bills that were passed at third reading include a bill for an act to provide for the domestication and enforcement in Nigeria of the avoidance of double taxation between Nigeria, the Republic of Spain, South Korea, and Sweden. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Onko, NTA News.
As part of efforts to fast-track the actualization of development plans for the tourism sector, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has inaugurated a multi-sectoral committee to review the nation's tourism master plan. Correspondent Anthony Forsing reports.
Members of the committee are drawn from the relevant ministries, departments and agencies, as well as from organizations such as UNESCO. They have been saddled with the responsibility to review Nigeria's tourism master plan ahead of the arrival of the United Nations World Tourism Organization officials to Nigeria next month. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed, who inaugurated the committee, charged them to see their assignment as a responsibility bestowed on them to prove their mettle and contribute to the federal government's desire to grow the tourism sector.
This is the beginning. We all visit other countries and we see the pride of place that tourism is a sport. See which aspects of that master plan needs to be reviewed in consonance with what has happened, both in terms of technology, in terms of politics, and even in terms of climate change. Under this administration, tourism will technically move from the margin and will come to the center of governance and will become a driving force of the economy.
With the inauguration of this committee to help review Nigeria's tourism master plan, is no doubt a clear indication that the federal government is determined to move tourism to the next level. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
The federal government has secured the release of about 218 containers of power equipment stranded for years at the Tinkan port in Lagos. The clearance and release of the containers to the Transmission Company of Nigeria followed a series of negotiations and concession by the terminal operators, Ministry of Power and the Nigerian Custom. Abdullahi Mohammed has more details.
7 containers of power equipment handed over to the Managing Director, Transmission Company of Nigeria, is among 218 containers stranded at the port. The containers have over time accumulated demurrage and other port charges running into billions of naira. This colossal amount has become a huge burden to the Transmission Company of Nigeria. Owing to the critical needs for the equipment in the construction of power substations across the country, the federal government released funds for the clearance of the containers.
A lot of these projects have been stalled for over 10 years because the materials and equipment are in the port in these particular containers. But now that the containers are out, I can assure you that within a very short period of time, the contractors will install them.
They have actually negotiated release for 300 and something. They have paid for 218. The executive management of TCN, when it fell into the hands of the Nigerian counterparts in August of this year, put it as priority to clear these containers because we know how important they are.
When the equipment are deployed and utilized in the various power substations across the country, the Transmission Company of Nigeria says will bring about additional 1,000 megawatts of electricity to the national grid. The negotiations towards releasing these stranded containers of power equipment has saved the federal government about 2 billion naira in port charges and demurrage. In Lagos, Abdullahi Mohammed, NTA News.
You can watch this news live on the go online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android devices at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Up ahead, former President Obasanjo is optimistic that the current challenges will soon be history, plus incessant clashes between herders and farmers. What's the way out? Details in just a moment.
Once in a generation, a technology emerges that transforms a nation. Glo's new 4G network is exactly that. It is by far the fastest mobile internet in Nigeria and the first with nationwide coverage. Government institutions and big business will have the tools they need to build the powerhouse of Africa. Small business will be enabled to make the big leap. Medical procedures will be more advanced and your home will become truly smart. With our most extensive national optic fiber network linked seamlessly to Glo One submarine cable, it is data speed and capacity beyond imagination. 4G will accelerate Nigeria's progress into the Super League and everyone will see their lives change beyond recognition. The wait is over. Welcome to 4G LTE from Glo. Welcome to the new speed of life.
The family of Okon has been taken hostage by an evil-looking creature.
The thing just show for night. Yeah, big, where?
Come in. My sister, I was there what was happening in the news. We must suddenly brought back your family.
You think you can free them? No way!
When Amatem fought appear, malaria around for cover. Amatem.
Thank you.
Amatem fought against some gel capsules, tablets for adults, and suspension for Pekin. Amateur does not itch your body and are very easy to use. There you are. Remember how Amateur fought against crash pin to confirm the original and against some gel capsules. Amateur. Say no to malaria, yes to life.
When you look at the world today, what do you see? The obvious or much more? Do you hear a call tune or the talents of thousands paying off? Do you see an instant message or millions of strengthened relationships? Do you see an app or creative entrepreneurs? An email or multiples of successful business transactions? Do you see charity or renewed faith in our shared humanity? Do you hear the laughter of millions of people in Africa's largest family? It's never enough to see only what's before us. That's why MTN is empowering a tomorrow that's driven by digital technology and made for Africa by Africans.
The Vice-Chancellor, Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, Professor Brian Garba, cordially invites the public to the 39th Convocation Lecture, Theme, Innovation Key to the Economic Growth and Development. Guest speaker, Jelani Aliu, MFR. Chairman, His Majesty, Nnameka Achebe, CFR, Chancellor, ABU. Date, Friday, 25th November 2016. Time, 3 p.m. prompt. Venue, Maman Kotangura Square, Ahmadu Bello University Main Campus, Samaru Zaria. 39th Convocation Ceremony. Date, Saturday, 26th November 2016. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. Venue, Maman Kotangura Square, ABU Main Campus, Samaru Zaria. Announcer, Registrar.
Abuja Geographic Information Systems, AGIS, request all allottees in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, and beneficiaries from the sale of federal government houses to come forward and settle their outstanding ground rents and bills latest December 31st, 2016. All concerned allottees and beneficiaries who fail to clear their bills within the stipulated period will attract the necessary penalties for default, which may include the revocation of such titles. For further inquiries, please contact the Customer Service Division, Abuja Geographic Information Systems, AGIS, number 4, Peace Drive, Area 11, Garki, Abuja, or call 0809-015-4777 or 0805-071-5299. Email info@agis.fct.gov.ng. AGIS Management. Announcer.
There's a situation. Everybody's speculating. They say, what have we done to deserve this constant changing? Father, Father, hear us. Lord, we trust the failed us. They say, look to the Lord for salvation and He shall redeem you. Lord, I'm getting frustrated. Yes, I'm losing my patience. I've been waiting for so long. 'Cause this is who we are. It's our reality. It's our reality now. This is who we are. It's our reality. It's our reality.
Airtel, the smartphone director, acted Muhammad Sani Aliu, on behalf of the Expanded Management Committee and the Economic Board of Waziri Umaru Federal Polytechnic, Birnin Kebbi, cordially invites the public to the joint 12th convocation ceremony for the award of diplomas, prizes, and conferment of honorary fellowships on Alhaji Aliko Dangote, GCON, President and CEO, Dangote Group of Companies, Nigeria, Senator Muhammad Adamu Aleru, Senator, Federal Republic of Nigeria, and former Executive Governor of Kebbi State. Date, Saturday, 26th November 2016. Venue, Convocation Arena, Gese Campus. Time, 9:30 a.m. Organizing Committee. Announcer.
There is a reason Africa is called the new frontier. What was once potential is now an opportunity ready to be seized. Once revered for our resources, today's wealth is in our people. People who build the cities that shape the future. People who know an idea in one place means business in another. A generation for whom technology means there are no borders, no boundaries. We are the new lions in a brave new world, kings of the urban jungle. And there's a bank that puts the world in our pocket and the future in our hands. UBA, Africa's global bank.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching News Extra on the NTA. Former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo has expressed optimism that Nigeria will overcome its present challenges and reclaim its pride of place in the Committee of Nations. He stated this at the Akintola Williams Foundation inaugural lecture held in Lagos. Tunde Saiki has more details.
Obasanjo, who spoke on the topic Nigeria yesterday, today and tomorrow, governance and accountability, said the hallmarks of good governance are transparency, accountability, trust, and citizenry participation. He noted that despite the various obstacles that characterized governance in Nigeria between 1914 and 1999, several efforts have been made to right the wrongs, adding that the fight against corruption is the ultimate tool needed to complete past efforts.
We must appeal to the judiciary not to frustrate the effort of these soldiers through flimsy technicality and interminable adjournments. Corruption is corruption.
The chairman of the event, Obi Ofonicha, said the lecture provides an opportunity to historically assess errors made in the past with a view to aligning with 21st century political revolution currently sweeping across the globe.
The evolving social, economic, and political landscapes also demonstrate no country, including Nigeria, can afford to live in isolation anymore.
The man in whose honor the lecture was held, Akintola Williams, and the chairman, board of trustees of the Akintola Williams Foundation, described the lecture as a platform to brainstorm on issues that border on national development.
Again, I think since 1997, I feel highly pleased to be so recognized. And I shall open the remaining years of my life and always remember what Twain and Astor did to make a success.
The event drew guests from all walks of life. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
Let's turn our attention now to security as the Minister of Defense, Masur Dan Ali, has condemned the recent series of attacks and killings of innocent people in some parts of Zamfara state. He described the recent attacks as callous, wicked and barbaric act which must be condemned in its entirety. A statement by the Public Relations Officer to the Minister, Colonel Tukur Gusau, says the federal government is on top of the situation and discussions are ongoing with relevant stakeholders in the state to consolidate the efforts of the state government. The statement adds that the minister has directed a quick increase of troops to boost the capacity of security agencies in the state. Meanwhile, the security situation in Nigeria's north-central geopolitical zone emanating from pastoralists and farmers' incessant violence conflict has continued to generate concerns. This time, key players at a peace forum held to discuss such conflicts suggest the regulation of movement of herders and their livestock, implementation of proposed ranching policy, as well as grassroots involvement in peace building as a way of solving the lingering problem. Justin Bemoni reports.
It is on record that violent conflicts between herdsmen and farming communities break out quite often in some parts of the country, which consequently undermines development in such areas. This peace forum, which gathers policymakers, government officials, community leaders, experts and development partners from Benue, Nasarawa, Kaduna and Plateau states to discuss peace and stability in the region.
Animals come from other countries. They are supposed to have, their own passport is what we call the International Transhumance Certificate. If you don't have that certificate, you are not even supposed to come into Nigeria.
As they harmonize the potential gaps for pastoralist-farmer conflicts, they see a proper pastoralism policy, respect for culture and rule of law, clear transhuman control and identification as key.
The only way out is that rearing must become systematic.
farming must become systematic. You must try to organize systems, put in place systems for the two businesses.
A lot of people feel that the ranching policy idea is a process of formalizing land tenure rights for an alien minority, the Fulanis. But we say no, that is not about it. It's about finding a workable, sustainable solution to a problem.
Organizers of the forum, Mercy Corps, a global humanitarian agency in its quest to reduce violent conflicts, has over the last 4 years implemented peace-building initiatives in the middle belt of the country. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
The national president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, Reverend Samson Ayokunle, has emphasized the need for peaceful coexistence amongst religious and ethnic groups in the quest for a rapid development in the country. The CAN president stated this when he granted audience to some inhabitants of parts of Kaduna State allegedly attacked by herdsmen. Ruben Okala reports.
The people were at the National Christian Center to formally complain to CAN leadership of various attacks the villagers suffered in the hands of herdsmen. As a result, they say several lives have been lost and properties including farmlands destroyed. Concerned with their plight, the CAN president says citizens have parts to play in the quest for peace and progress of the nation.
When we are talking of peaceful coexistence, there must be mutual respect and nobody must cross the boundaries. They are human beings, they are not cows. They have the right to exist.
Reverend Ayokunle appealed to the government and security agencies to remain vigilant in the fight against militancy.
I want to plead with government once again. This is a moment of truth. This is not about politics or ethnicity. It's not even about religion. It's about value that is attached to the life of every Nigerian.
The visit was rounded up with prayers for peace and progress of the nation. Ruben Okala, NT News.
Kaduna and its environs has been attributed to weak legislation and poor intelligence gathering mechanism, alongside continuous existence of improperly registered SIM cards that are still being sold in most cities. Benny Adams has details.
Rising cases of abduction in Kaduna and environs, and family members having to pay huge sums of money to secure the release of victims of this act has raised public concern, not just in Kaduna, but around the country, and also necessitated the question, why is it so difficult for security agencies to be able to track communications between the abductors and family members at the point of paying this ransom?
Fatima Kabir is the Acting Director of Information and Communication Technology of Kaduna State University.
And in some instances when, even on personal issues, when sometimes there's the will to do that, you'll see that somebody's call is tracked, or activities on the internet. They can also be tracked using the IP addresses of that system.
Emmanuel Ochigbo, a surveillance expert, speaks on how closed-circuit cameras work towards curbing security threats.
All you need to do, being the operator, is to get the IP address from the installer and any axis that crime has taken place. You will use that very particular password to impute, and it will open that very section for you, and you see exactly what has happened in that Kawo axis.
Colonel Dudu Usman, a security expert and the Zonal Controller of Nigeria Communications Commission, Kano Zonal Office, Adamu Amshi, speaks on way forward.
The modern security apparatus provide for tracking. You can track these things. It just requires effort between the government and the service providers to be able to do that. It's possible to track them almost immediately.
If the police come forward and request them, there are processes, there are procedures. Definitely the NCC will give out those information that we have in our registered database.
Whether or not The Nigeria Police and other security agencies use the option of tracing calls in a kidnap situation remains a secret, but that which is a threat to public safety is the continuous existence of improperly registered SIM cards in the country that might be used to commit crimes. In Kaduna, Ben Adams, NTA News.
Troops of the Nigerian army has rescued over 5,000 people being held hostage by the Boko Haram terrorists between the months of October and November this year. Theatre Commander Operation Lafia Dole Major General Lucky Rebel, while briefing newsmen, stated that no local government in Borno State is currently under Boko Haram. Maimuna Garba reports.
The theatre commander gave a comprehensive account on activities of the military in the ongoing counter-insurgency operations to clear remnants of Boko Haram terrorists. These engagements include fighting patrols at Damboa and Alagarno axis, clearance patrols at the fringes of Lake Chad, especially around Malampatori and Kangarwa, where troops successfully dislodged and killed 13 terrorists, repelled attacks and recovered weapons. The command, however, lost an officer and 7 soldiers in the operations.
Let me once again use this medium to remind the remnants of the Boko Haram terrorists that their miserable days are numbered, because their future is going to be disastrous if they fail to surrender and lay down their arms.
In the meantime, troops of Operation Lafia Dole have commenced Operation Rescue Finale at the heart of Sambisa Forest, which, according to the theatre commander, is a strategic component of the ongoing Operation Crackdown aimed at rescuing Chibok girls. He restated determination of the Nigerian army to sustain the peace so far achieved in the northeast. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Still talking security, the Nigerian Air Force says it is working round the clock to ensure that the Harmattan season will not in any way hamper its operations in the northeast. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar stated this while interacting with journalists on the sidelines at the NAF base Abuja. Correspondent Isaac Nkuma reports.
Okay, so you can pay it for us. Pay it. Where is it now?
Pupils of the Nafua Little Angel School, Abuja, making use of the new Montessori laboratory. In the words of the Chief of Air Staff, education is the key to success, and providing a solid learning foundation is the way to go. In its ploy to catching them young, Nafua has deployed ultra-modern learning aids and conducive classrooms to elicit interest in the chosen field of study.
I'd like to be a medical doctor, a cardiology surgeon in the medical school. The Chief of Air Staff has actually done a great job by equipping our library, putting more books, making the shelves better, the chairs and all of that. It has made the children to have the habit to read a lot.
We in the Air Force are very delighted. I'm very happy to see NAFOA taking these giant steps. And my hope is that, like I told the little children, I'm sure they will remember this very occasion in years to come. And God willing, if they have the opportunity to also add value to society, I'm sure they will, knowing fully well that when they were kids, they saw something like this happening. So it will ring in their brains that, look, we also should try to do something to the children of that time.
The facility, which was a nursery education center at inception, has over the years been upgraded to a full primary school. And as the educational needs of Air Force personnel wards are being taken care of, Air Marshal Abubakar says NAF operations in the northeast are ongoing despite the weather.
Our pilots are properly trained to be able to operate under such circumstances. We have what we call our minima, operational minima. As long as the weather does not drag to that level, our pilots will continue to operate. But I can tell you that up to this morning, we have airplanes flying in the northeast and even in the northwest.
In Abuja, Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
Now, in the 21st century age of great awareness, can educators provide qualitative educational opportunities to children at a moderate cost? This was part of issues raised by representatives of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo at the 2016 Educational Conference by owners of private schools in Nigeria. Frank Uzoma Olwa has the details.
Education is seen as the bedrock of civilization, but the sector has for long faced numerous challenges in infrastructure, low enrollment of pupils and students, and poor quality of teachers, as noted in the Vice President's message.
It is therefore imperative that all and sundry should join hands in the development of education. Investment in education is an investment in the future of our nation.
Private sector investment in education has perhaps answered many questions on enrollment and quality, but at high costs to some parents.
Even if you have some center of excellence where government will continue to look for ways of assisting and partnering with you to better the lot of our children.
Look at your priorities and decide whether building a duplex of 50 million or staying in a bungalow of 15 million and sending your children to the best of schools.
For the Ministry of Education, teacher professional development is key to achieving quality outcomes in public and private schools.
I want teachers to know, you are not yet, if you are not registered with us, you are still a quack. Okay? You are a cheater. You are not yet a teacher. And so to make yourself a teacher, you must be registered with us.
Part of recommendations from the conference is the need for adequate funding of education in order to revamp public schools from low standards.
We are bothered that the Nigerian child's education is poor. Under the trees, dilapidated houses, sitting on bricks and on the floor.
Foremost educationist Professor Pai Obanya dwelt on effecting a paradigm shift from mass schooling to mass education.
Following the passage at a second reading, a bill for an act to amend the NTA Act of 1977 by the House of Representatives, Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, has welcomed the proposed amendment, but advocates a total overhaul of the entire section 1 to 35 of the Act. Ignatius Sunku reports.
What is today known as the Nigerian Television Authority started as the Western Nigerian Television Services, which beamed its first signals to the people of Nigeria and entire Africa on the 31st of October 1959. By the beginning of 1962, the three regional governments that existed in Nigeria had set up the Nigerian Television Services, NTS. With the creation of 12 states, more television services were established, and by 1976, when all television stations were taken over by the federal government under the Decree 24 of 1977, the Nigerian Television Authority was born as the sole entity responsible for television broadcasting in Nigeria. Beginning with 10 stations, 20 more stations were later added, bringing it to 30 stations by 1999, and today, NTA boasts of 101 stations, following the decision of the federal government of Nigeria at the time to further expand television services in the year 2002 for wider reception, especially to rural areas. This development has given NTA the status of the largest network in Africa. Section 6, subsection 1 of the NTA Establishment Act gave NTA the mandate to provide public service in the interest of Nigeria, independent and impartial television broadcast for general reception within Nigeria. The Act did not empower NTA to broadcast outside the shores of Nigeria, and it is this defect that the amendment bill, sponsored by Representative Victor Akinjo from Ondo State, seeks to provide.
It will provide legal framework to enable the authority to broadcast to global audience our policy, our people, our identity, and our culture.
NTA Director General Yakubu Ibn Mohammed argued in favor of a more holistic amendment.
I want the whole act from section 1 to section 35, looked at, very critically. Like I said, the broadcasting ecosystem in Nigeria has changed since 1977 when NTA, as an institution came into being. Many things have happened. The ecosystem has changed, and we cannot continue to operate, that act.
It is the tradition of both the Senate and the House of Representatives to provide for a public hearing, which is a forum where interested persons or organizations can make input or seek further amendments to a bill under consideration. The House of Representatives is yet to make public a date or dates for the public hearing on the NTA Act. It is such a forum that the NTA and its management awaits to make its input and indeed its case. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
The rise in quackery and deviation from professional ethics of advertising industry has prompted the Advertising Practitioners of Nigerian Association chapter and its regulatory body APCON to dialogue on ways on moving on for the better. Uchenwizu has details.
The first Key Players Forum of the Advertising Practitioners seeks to create awareness and sensitize actors in the industry on the need to bridge the gap among sectorial groups and protect advertising ethics towards enhancing the socio-economic development of Nigeria.
Advertising is the blood of the economy, and if we don't get it right, if the blood gets somehow, of course, naturally the body won't be right.
The major thing we want to achieve is to create a synergy between the regulators and the practitioners.
Discussing the theme, ethical advertising practice, getting it right, panelists among them was the Director General of the NTA, represented by the Executive Director Marketing, identified the social media, lack of morality and pressing need for funds as major challenges of advertising practitioners.
We know those who are quacks, we don't accept them, we don't allow them, and we try to stick to the rules of APCON.
It is expected that practitioners at the end would be educated on how to tap the potentials of the industry for the good of the country in image making, social cohesion, and revenue generation. Uche Nwizu, NTA News.
Still to come, 3 steps to fixing the economy and Borno State to get inland dry port. We'll bring you more details shortly.
My parent-in-law. So how are you planning for my son's birthday? No, I have to cook for her. Do you people have ogirisi there? No. It's okay. Okay, let me call you back. Mama Chiji, okay. Hi, so wait a market. Please pack some ogirisi. I am going to visit my son. My daughter-in-law. It's arranged. But you must use original red oil to prepare the soup. What? I'll call you back. Mama Chijo, please include Isio Morocco, my daughter-in-law. Everything is now set. But don't forget that gold wristwatch I saw the last time I visited her.
Now you can talk until you tire for just 11 kobo a second. Call all networks in Nigeria and 30 international destinations, including US, UK, China, Canada, and India for just 11 kobo per second. Dial *211# to activate.
That's it, boo-boo.
The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data.
This must be one of Mother Nature's greatest gifts. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's what LG wants you to see. Just what we see now, through our technology. LG OLED TV.
Success. I always wanted to make something of myself. Even when I was a child. With So Clean, my mother made sure that my clothes were clean and bright. With a 30% concentrated formula, washing is faster, brighter, and cleaner. Like millions of families, mine also trust So Clean. With my clothes and with my career. Because when all eyes are on you, you have to look the part. So Clean. It's your time to shine.
So Clean. Now with a new look and stain magnet technology for even better stain removal.
With Free Basics, one opportunity leads to many. Dial *141# to get Jobberman, Airtel One Touch, and many more without data charges. Only on Airtel.
Germs, oil, and dirt cause blemishes and uneven skin tone. You need Dettol Even Tone. It removes 99.9% of germs and is formulated to remove excess oil and dirt, helping to reduce blemishes.
Dettol Mom. She only trusts Dettol antiseptic liquid to kill 100 illness-causing germs, and it's recommended for cuts and scrapes. Worry less and love more. Don't just be any mom, be a Dettol mom. Dettol, be 100% sure.
It's truck month at Ford, and we've got a Ranger just for you, Vincent. Here's the Workhorse 2.5 petrol single cab with free Ford Protect, a 4-year, 120,000-kilometer service plan. Or the 2.5 petrol-based double cab with 800mm water wading capability. Available in manual transmission and with free Ford Protect. So while stocks last, visit Koscharis Motors today. Because, wait for it, thanks Vincent, we've got a tough Ford Ranger just for you.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Welcome back and thanks for being there. All right, we'll start this segment with the business news. Strengthening institutions and build sound international controls to prevent fraud, waste and abuse. President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, Titus Soitan, tells government at all levels. Amici Pius has more details of this and other stories in our business news segment.
Hello and welcome to Business News. The president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICAN, Titus Soitan, has advised government at all levels to embrace ideals of accountability and transparency in public sector financial reporting to check corruption in the system. The ICAN president, who was reacting to various economic challenges faced in the country, told journalists that there is need for government to ensure policy stability, promote public-private partnership, and create an enabling environment for businesses to thrive.
There's nothing wrong in borrowing money, but government must make sure that this money is judiciously spent. This money is spent on infrastructure. This money is spent on things that can make our economy to grow.
While reacting to the latest inflation figures from the National Bureau of Statistics, the ICAN president wants government to concentrate on measures and programs aimed at developing infrastructure such as power, and also pursue aggressively the diversification of the economy, particularly in the non-oil sector.
If we want to make progress, it is the private sector that can help us generate employment, get people out of the streets. How many people can government employ? Very, very little. But economies are developed when the private sector is strengthened.
And that's Business News. Thanks for watching. The news continues shortly. Good evening.
Amici Pius there for us on business. Now, the Federal Account Allocation Committee, FAC, has approved the distribution of 420 billion naira between the three tiers of government. Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, chairman of FAC, attributed the persistent decrease in revenue to agitation in the Niger Delta and assured government is addressing capital shortage to boost infrastructure deficit in the country. Details with Leah Katung Pabatunde.
Accrued to the Federation account for the month of October declined by 41 billion naira. This was occasioned by lower oil prices, exacerbated by decreased exports in the month of August. This did not come as a surprise, as the Monetary Policy Committee recently maintained its rate stance after data revealed Nigeria's economy shrank for a third consecutive quarter. However, Finance Minister Kemi Adeosun says government is focusing on addressing the issue of hidden debts in ministries, departments and agencies in a bid to improve economic activities.
Indeed, they are affecting a number of sectors in the economy, everything from the discos, the electricity sector, contractors. There are a number that are being owed, and clearly it's affecting our ability to get the economy growing.
With the right policies to bridge the nation's infrastructure gap, the minister agrees with the central bank on the need to address the shortage of foreign exchange to the manufacturing sector that has witnessed a slowdown in activities.
On the fiscal side, we are rolling out a number of measures that will support the manufacturing sector in terms of tax relief and other measures that will allow the balance sheets of the manufacturers to be repaired. They've taken quite a hit.
Of the 420 billion naira distributed, statutory revenue was 203.952 billion naira, VAT 69.621 billion naira, exchange gain 37.319 billion naira, and excess petroleum profit tax 109.108 billion naira. In Abuja, Leah Katung Babatunde, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated Ms. Sandi Okoro on her recent appointment as a Senior Vice President and General Counsel, World Bank. He described Ms. Sandi's track record in the legal banking business as impressive. Hope that given the right atmosphere, Nigerians in the diaspora can be professionally excellent. The president also commended Nigeria's Nemkadi Ogunike, who was voted the most valuable player of the 2016 Women's NBA League. Nemkadi led her team, Los Angeles Sparks, to clinch the 2016 league championship. A statement from the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Foreign Affairs, Abike Dabiri, records that in 2014, Nemkadi's younger sister was selected by the Connecticut Sun as the #1 draft pick. It added that Nigerians are truly proud of the siblings, who are the second set of Nigerians to be ever selected as #1 in any American sport. As peace gradually returns to the northeast, the federal government has set a machinery in motion for the establishment of an inland dry port in Borno State. Executive Secretary, Nigerian Shippers Council Hassan Bello stated this during a visit to the state. Haman Jabani reports.
Establishment of the inland dry port in Maiduguri, Borno State was approved alongside those of Kano, Kaduna and Plateau, but could not take up due to security challenges confronting the state. The Executive Secretary, Nigerian Shippers Council Hassan Bello, while interacting with Governor Kashi Shettima, noted that when completed, the port will provide job opportunities to thousands of citizens, describing Borno as the hub of socio-economic activities in the northeast and neighboring countries. He called on the state government to provide access roads leading to the proposed site to hasten its take-off. Governor Kashi Shettima said the establishment of the inland dry port in Maiduguri is a welcome development, maintaining that there is a link between poverty and the crisis which the state is facing. The governor assured that the state government will give needed support and cooperation to actualize the project. In Maiduguri, Hamad Jabani, NTA.
The Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board has urged Nigerians to adopt the local content policy across the sectors of the economy, with successes in employment generation and capacity building amongst volatile oil prices, high operational costs and rising global competition. This was at the opening of the 6th Practical Nigerian Content Forum in Abuja. Chiazala Mekie reports.
The theme is exploring Nigerian content implementation in today's business environment, taking cognizance of its acceptability in the oil and gas industry. The conference, which brings together government and industry interest groups to take stock on key issues affecting local content, successes recorded, compliance level, and outlook for the future.
I think we'll ramp up. I believe that behind every dark cloud there's a silver lining. Currently you have a dip in the oil price, but I think it's an opportunity for us to reset our strategy to see how we will survive during this period and prepare ourselves for the opportunities that will come when the oil price does improve.
The IOCs and industry have started looking at cost containment, but that's a positive thing. And that should be one of the gains of local content implementation.
Minister of State Petroleum Ibe Kachuku reaffirmed government's commitment to driving policy implementation, even within the current economic climate.
President Muhammadu Buhari's administration is fully aware of the strategic role NCDMB plays in the oil and gas industry, and government will continue to support the board, provided with the regulatory and financial guidance it needs to execute its very important mandate.
The Nigerian Oil and Gas Industry Content Development Policy was signed into law in 2010. The new management is expected to use this forum to breeze up to the mandate by President Muhammadu Buhari to ensure propriety and the management of vital national institutions for sustainable growth of the economy. Chiazalam Ekie, NTA News.
A broad spectrum of Africans have continued to view firsthand the rich cultural product inherent in Nigeria and exploit them for social economic benefits. This is at the ongoing African Arts and Craft Expo in Abuja. Elizabeth Banu, who visited the Arts and Craft Village, now reports.
The African Art and Craft Expo provides the platform for reawakening consciousness on the need to look inwards with a view to tapping the rich and diverse potential that abound on the African continent. Artworks such as paintings, sculptures, leatherworks and textiles on display tell the African story on civilization. AFAC's bringing together craftsmen from across Nigeria, the African continent and beyond on one stage is a means of expanding and growing the businesses in the industry, sharing ideas and networking, also to drive the Nigerian creative industry for economic prosperity.
The creative industry, through its arts and crafts, actually approaches wealth creation from bottom up. You can see that, most of the artists really might not have high Western education, but they are highly skilled. What else should we do but to tap on this bottom-up approach to wealth?
This year's participation by other countries and various states in Nigeria tends to have declined. So has the patronage. Efe Musa, a Ghanaian, is participating in AFAC for the third time.
What we are experiencing is the economic hardship. You see, when you price the things, people are shouting, then they run away. I carry plenty of things came here, but it is not moving.
For others, it is another way the expo challenges their collective resourcefulness for alternative roadmaps in economic recession.
The government provides assistance in terms of loans to encourage these youths to be involved in the various crafts we have in the state.
The theme for the 2016 AFAC is African Arts and Craft, a catalyst for investment in the Nigerian creative industries. In Abuja, I am Elizabeth Banu, NTA News.
In the next part, revolutionary technology to the rescue in the reduction of cardiovascular diseases. Stay with us.
Quick and easy banking on your mobile, like checking your balance or transferring money. Use our mobile banking services today. To find out more, visit us online at ecobank.com. Move on up with EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
From what we have seen, we have the capacity which we can rapidly develop or feed ourselves. If we don't import rice, we stop importing corn and other grains, Nigeria will have plenty of money to invest into developing industries, especially manufacturing, textiles and so on, and develop iron and steel, and complement the infrastructure development. So really, the opportunities are virtually limitless, and we are very, very aware of this. and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
Whenever pain occurs, you want quick relief. Try new Nurofen Express. It goes to the source of pain and gets to work in under 15 minutes. That's why Nurofen Express delivers fast and effective relief. New Nurofen Express works at the source of pain. Fast.
Being a mom is great, but when your child has a fever, you don't know what to do. I trust Nurofen for Children to take care of my child's pain and fever.
Effective relief you can trust.
It's truck month at Ford, and we've got a Ranger just for you, Vincent. Here's the Workhorse 2.5 petrol single cab with free Ford Protect, a 4-year, 120,000-kilometer service plan. Or the 2.5 petrol-based double cab with 800mm water wading capability, available in manual transmission and with free Ford Protect. So while stocks last, visit Koscharis Motors today. Because, wait for it, thanks Vincent, we've got a tough Ford Ranger just for you.
When I wake every morning, I'm a muka mattress, yo. I'm feeling good, even better than my best, yo. I am feeling good.
Wake up on a Mocha mattress and wake up to feeling good.
Experience the unique culture. Enjoy the exceptional hospitality. See the enchanting spectacle. Feel the friendly warmth. Join the celebration at Abuja Carnival Reloaded. It's a celebration of culture, a world-class event, the best cultural party ever. It's a carnival of change. Abuja Carnival 2016. Theme: the creative industry, pivot to economic growth. Destination: Abuja Capital City. Date: December 3rd to 6th, 2016. Abuja Carnival, a truly national carnival.
Welcome back. The health sector in Nigeria has recorded another success story with the introduction of Sotera Cardiac Platform, which Wiza gives us an insight into the workings of the technology towards reducing cardiovascular diseases.
Sotera Cardiac Platform, which is the first of its kind in Nigeria, is a technology that helps detect whether or not a person will suffer a cardiac arrest within a period of 4 to 10 years. And in the case of a sufferer, the device directs the cardiologist on the proper treatment and management.
When an artery fails because it becomes obstructed due to atherosclerosis, things like serious heart attacks develop.
This present technology is available because what is available picks up people who are already at disease states.
Medical experts identified cardiovascular disease as a major cause of death globally, and the rate is projected to rise in developing countries over the next 20 years. The new device is to be given to teaching hospitals across the country, making Nigeria the third to take advantage of the new technology after the US and Kenya.
Nobody in Africa will be required to buy the machine. All you'll be expected to do is to pay for the test. And we are negotiating a package where the tests should be affordable to almost any average individual.
I know the number of people who come in with cardiac problems and die needlessly. So if we begin to screen them early enough, we'll avoid these problems. And the chances of people surviving longer than the low life expectancy we have in Nigeria will improve.
This portable device, which is easy to operate, cardiologists believe has the potentials to reduce deaths related to cardiovascular diseases. NTA News.
With barely few hours to the flag off of the 2016 Christian pilgrimage to Israel, Rome and Greece, there is assurance of a hitch-free exercise with innovative projects, especially for the poor, to perform pilgrimages. Talato Ezerike reports that this was the position of discussants on NTA Currents' first program, Tuesday Live.
Pilgrimages, especially to Israel, many say it's not only biblical, but a spiritual rejuvenation
and that over 20,000 Christians are expected to perform the 2016 exercise to Israel, Rome, and Greece. Coordinating body, the National Christian Pilgrims Commission, NCPC, has over the years introduced innovative programs like the Sponsor a Pilgrim to Israel in building a people of righteousness and character.
I went to one state recently, and the governor sponsored some people to go to pilgrimage. That governor is a Muslim, and they told me that he has only 2 requests. That he wants the Christians who are going on pilgrimage to pray for his state and for him, and to pray for the president and the vice president. That these people mean well, and if God helps them, they will transform this nation.
We are going on this pilgrimage to pray for our own country. I want you to know that a lot of prayers have been poured up to heaven concerning Nigeria. Things probably will have been worse than this, but we are grateful to God, and that all who go will always pray.
For others, pilgrimage should be for both spiritual and material gains, reasons for the NCPC introducing skills acquisition.
We teach people. I give one example about a particular sister. Started with, after visiting the site, started with few beds, about 15 of them. As that when she came to do a presentation to us, she has over 5,000 beds.
So I encourage every Christian, every child of God who is healthy and alive to go to Israel before you go to heaven.
The 2016 exercises hope to end within the same calendar year and feature plans to make Nigeria pilgrimage hub. Talati Ezarike, NTA News.
There's more ahead on News Extra. I'll be right back after these messages.
The production, distribution, and sale of counterfeit and fake drugs is a corrupt practice and a crime against humanity. This has informed several measures and strategies to combat fake drugs, including introduction of anti-counterfeiting cutting-edge technologies to detect fake drugs on the spot. These technologies are being deployed to all the states across the Federation, as well as the internally displaced people's camps. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, and his team are committed to this fight.
The federal government of Nigeria, in line with its anti-corruption agenda and posture, will fight a total war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products in order to ensure that Nigerians remain healthy and well.
Lend your support and join NAFDAC to rid the country of fake drugs and unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Welcome back. On Global Tidbit tonight, United States President-elect picks South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley as U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. Plus, tensions mount in DR Congo as President Kabila postpones elections to April 2018. These are more Global Tidbits with Gabriel Audru.
President Joseph Kabila of the Democratic Republic of Congo has postponed presidential elections due to hold this month, November 27, 2016, to April 2018. President Kabila's second and last term is to elapse next month. Meanwhile, a coalition of pro-democracy groups are mounting a bye-bye campaign for the president to leave office. While reports from Malabo, Equatorial Guinea, indicate that Morocco and some Arab countries staged a walkout of the African Arab Leaders Summit in protest at the presence of a delegation from the Polisario Front, which wants independence for Western Sahara. Away from Africa now, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump has appointed South Carolina's Governor Nikki Haley as U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. Haley is a daughter of an Indian immigrant. That's Global Tidbits. Gabriel Udu, NTA News.
And talking sports, Defenders Basketball Club of Abuja and Hoops and Reeds Basketball Club of Lagos are leading at the ongoing Division 1 Basketball League in Abuja, with FIFA president supporting officiating changes at the 2018 FIFA World Cup. Amanzi Marcus has more details.
This is the indoor sports hall of the Abuja National Stadium, venue of the National Division 1 Men's Basketball League. And after 5 days of competing, the defenders of Abuja from the Savannah Conference and Hobson Reed of Lagos from the Atlantic Conference are on their way to qualify to the NBBF Premier League because they have won all their 5 matches. 37 matches have already been played and 27 more are being decided between Wednesday and Sunday.
The best teams in the Savannah Conference and the Atlantic Conference are automatically going on promotion into the DSTV League. So that is inspiring the teams to play great basketball.
The game is very physical, very aggressive, and a lot of young players just coming up every single time. That it shows that this is a great league and basketball is moving forward.
Meanwhile, a 3-day joint competitive taekwondo program between Team Chika Chukwumerije Sports Foundation CCSF and the University of Jos Taekwondo team has ended in Jos Plateau State, with Team CCSF beating the hosts 18-7 in 25 bouts. The collaborative training program enabled athletes and coaches on both sides to exchange vital strategies and methodologies ahead of the next edition of the Nigeria University Games, NUGA.
So Nigeria Taekwondo on all levels needed to step up his game, and that I expected a lot of the champions to come from the university system.
Meanwhile, FIFA President Gianni Infantino says he is in favor of introducing video refereeing for the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia after previously expressing fears it will cause too much interference. The head of the World Football Governing Body said he was skeptical at first about using video technology to assist referees in crucial decisions. With Sports Update, Amanzi Marcus, NTA News.
Tributes. Nigerians have been advised to constantly reflect and consolidate on their lives in order to be remembered for their legacies after they depart from earth. This was a testimony for the lives of late Henry Odugala, the General Secretary of the Radio, Television and Theatre Workers Union. Tessie Justin Bisank reports.
Some of them described him as a consummate thinker, an astute leader, a moving library, a dogged fighter, an honest and prudent man who stood for justice and protected the interest of workers. President of the union, Yemisi Bamboshe, stressed the importance of brotherliness, bearing in mind that everyone will die someday.
Whatever you want to do, do it honestly. Serve people with all you have, and be focused on God.
Highlighting on some of his achievements, especially in the emancipation of the masses, others noted that his legacies must be upheld for the growth and development of the country.
A loss to Nigerians, especially those that believe in what is right, what is true, and people that will continue to stand for social justice.
One lesson it has left for me is that we have to do good, because at the end of the day, it is that goodness that people will remember you for.
Very, very passionate person, especially when it has to do with unionism.
The remains of late Henry Odugala will be laid to rest on Friday, 25th November, in his hometown in Delta State. He was 54. Tessie Justin Bisong, NTA News.
Now, quick check on the weather prospect for Thursday.
Hello and welcome to the weather forecast. I'm Sefia Senyinusa. We expect the northern part of the country to be in sunny and hazy conditions. The central state will be cloudy to partly cloudy, while the southern cities are expected to be in cloudy conditions. Further into the day, we do not expect any appreciable changes from the central up to the north, while areas around Akure, Ado Ekiti, Benin, Enugu, and the coastal cities should expect isolated thunderstorms. Please stay tuned for our temperature forecast.
And just before we go, a quick reminder that you can get all